Alright, so this is just another bleed build video. Of course, like any bleed build in Remnant 2, we have the Merciless with Twisting Wounds. That's 2 stacks of bleeding by itself. Then, for me, I have the Assassin's Dagger with Vampire Blade. So this by itself does 1 stack of bleeding when you do a charged attack for 10 seconds. Or 1 stack of bleeding that lasts 10 seconds. And Vampire Blade will lifesteal targets for 3% of base damage dealt with a melee hit. The Bolt Driver, the handgun doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want with that. It's just the mod that matters. You want to be able to put the Blood Draw mod on it because that's another stack of bleeding. And then we have the Blood Jewel. That is another stack of bleeding. So all in all, that's 5 stacks of bleeding you can deal by yourself solo. It's 2 stacks of bleeding for Merciless, both last 10 seconds. 1 stack with the Assassin's Dagger charge attack that lasts 10 seconds, and then with a charge attack with the Assassin's Dagger and the Blood Jewel, that's 20 seconds added onto that, so that's 2 stacks with the Assassin's Dagger as well. And then that's 1 stack, 15 seconds with the Blood Draw mod. Again, handgun, you can do whatever you want. I just personally like the Bolt Driver, so I'm using it. You can use anything you want, though. It does not matter. Another part is the Blood Tinged Ring. Gain 2 HP regen per second when within 10 meters of a bleeding entity. Whenever you're in a boss fight, or... hell, most fights in Remnant 2, you're going to be within 10 meters of the entity that you're, like, killing or bleeding. But I've noticed something with this ring that I'm not sure if it's intended or not, but it's actually pretty cool. I'll show it to you in a bit when I show you the actual build, but in action. But notice how it says within 10 meters of a bleeding entity. It doesn't say enemy, it says entity. So when you yourself are bleeding, you don't lose HP, it just regens HP. It's weird because I've been bleeding for 60 seconds before and I just keep on regenerating HP. So you want to be bleeding while you're in this build. Because if you're bleeding and your enemies are bleeding, you're just gaining a shit ton of HP. And then the other 2 rings I have, these are... You don't have to have them, that's personal preference. These are the ones I like. The Reserve Boosting Gem is better than that one Fey ring that does 0.25 HP regen when above 50% HP. But this one does 0.333 per second, 1 second after going below 50% health. It increases regeneration value to 2 per second until 50% health is reached. I just like it. You don't have to use it. You can honestly swap that out with whatever. Ring of Omens, if you don't know what that does, it does this funky little thing. It's the secret dodge. Although at this point, with how many secrets there are in Remnant, I'm just gonna say it's another dodge because there's not really a secret anymore. That's a funky little guy. Oh, and cool thing about the Ring of Omens is that you can be wearing the full Leto Mark II set, and you won't fat roll. Or not fat roll. You won't. You don't need to wear Leto's amulet when you're wearing the Ring of Omens. So that's pretty neat. If you wanted to wear the Leto set, honestly, I would. I just I like the way this set looks, so that's why I'm using it. Another ring you could use is the Alchemy Stone. Increases base lifesteal by 5% while suffering from a negative status or blight effect. So this is another good one to have in a bleed build, or bleed slash lifesteal, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. Honestly, I might swap that out for the reserve boosting gem, but I like both rings. I swap them out every now and then. And for me, I have the Shielded Heart. I need to put more relic fragments on it again, but I have Archon and Invader, and of course Ravager's Mark. That's really it for the it's really it for the build. I will just show it to you now, I guess. Find some enemies to fuck up.
we go.
So you don't really need to use any of your other weapons when near just weak enemies like this. The only reason you would want to use, like, say the bolt driver is because it one-shots with the mod. But otherwise it decimates pretty much everything in its path. You don't really need to swap to your secondary or your melee. Ignore how I just missed that there. That one too. Oh, there's a chunky boy there. We get to actually showcase the build. So notice how that's 2 stacks of bleed already that, like, demolish these fuckers. And here's the big boy. Ow. Okay. Yeah, see? Pretty good, right?